own foundry to a very fine specification. They've gone for 4 valves per cylinder and twin belt-driven camshafts. The result is pure magic. As for the body shell itself, well, they use a standard 3-door Sierra body shell with 3 or 4 significant changes. There's this very deep spoiler at the front end with an integral moulded bumper, grills in the bonnet cover to take away some of the engine compartment heat. We've got these extended wheel arches and door sill to take full width 10-inch racing rubber, and at the back end that remarkable wing extends fully 2 feet from the tailgate. Looks a bit over the top, I must say, but it's not just for dressing. It does a real job. It exerts 45 pounds worth of downward pressure when the car's travelling at speed. Inside, well, it looks rather smoother than most other top-of-the-range Sierras, and there are 3 or 4 other important additions. For example, you've got these racing-style Recaro seats with plenty of padding under the thighs to give you that extra sideways stability. There's a turbo boost gauge at the top of the rev counter, neatly hidden, I noticed, behind your left hand when it's on the steering wheel. What was the cubby is taken over by the comprehensive engine management system, looks after fuel air ratios and sparking and the turbo response. You've got this neatly leather-covered gear shift. What's important, of course, is what's on the other end of that lever. It's a heavy-duty 5-speed Borg-Warner gearbox to cope with the amount of power around, and there's certainly plenty of that. Well, this car is a real joy to drive, mainly because this engine, this Cosworth engine, is as sweet as a nut. You can feel the urge as soon as you put your foot down, then it goes on pulling right the way up through the range. The turbocharger cuts in very early on in the piece, gives you this long, flat torque curve with 80% of the torque available to you from about 2,500 revs right the way up through to 6,500. But here we are, for example, at 19, 95, 100, still pulling very strongly. Very little wind noise with this slippery shape, very little engine noise. In fact, it feels far slower than it is. Even at the top speed of 150 miles an hour, the engine noise is really relatively low. That's the power. Apart from the power, I think the ride is exceptional. It's stiffened up, of course, to take the extra cornering forces, but still very firm but flexible. Handling, very good. I would say the one criticism is the handling is still a bit sharp, a very sharp entry to the corners. Often you feel as if you have to take a bit of the turning off. And of course, the wing at the back end takes away a lot of the rear view vision. All you can see, I'm told, are the blue lights of the tops of police cars. But altogether, I would say, a very fine car to drive indeed. Now, the man who has masterminded the development of this car is Rod Mansfield, the head of Ford's Special Vehicle Engineering Group, or SVE as it's called. What is their role within Ford?
SVE was set up in 1980, early 1980, in order to produce high-tech, interesting vehicles alongside Ford mainstream vehicles. Vehicles such as the Fiesta XR2, the XR3i, the Capri Injection, Escort Cabrio in conjunction with Carmen, and of course the four-wheel drive vehicles, most recently the Sierra and Scorpio four-wheel drives.
What is the particular role of this car then?
Well, the intention is that this car, in race form, will win races in the European Touring Challenge next year and the British Saloon Car Championship and other national championships.
When are we going to see this car then available in sort of on the streets of Britain?
Around about middle of April, or maybe a little bit later. And the car will be in competition towards the end of this year, in fact by the end of this year, which really means that next year, 1987, is the first full season for it.
Of course, as a car to go shopping in, it's got a hell of a lot of power you won't be using, hasn't it?
Well, of course, one of the reasons for special vehicle engineering existing is to make sure that it isn't an out-and-out racer when it's sold through the dealership to the customer. It is perfectly possible to use this car for shopping. In fact, it's a very smooth and quiet road car.
So to summarise, the RS Cosworth has a 1993cc engine, turbocharged with electronic fuel injection. For the fuel consumption figures, it ranges from 22.8 miles per gallon on the urban cycle up to 38.2 miles per gallon at 56 miles an hour. 0 to 60 is 6.5 seconds, maximum speed